Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, hope you're well. So, sorry about that, my microphone and my speakers are on at the same time. So what we're going to do is very quickly go into our reference layer here, because what we want to do is go into painting the eyes. One thing we're missing is the actual sort of the whites of the eyes here. And so when we go into the whites of the eyes aren't actually white. They're a shade of white for sure, but there's more grey to them than white. So where your eyes layer is inside your layers, pop into the eyes layer and just go to the layer that's below your eyes, and then go make a new layer. I'm going to call this whites of eyes. I'm going to call this whites of eyes. Oops, it'd help if I could spell. Whites of eyes. There we go, that's better. And then inside here, we're just going to paint underneath. Now, the reason we're going to go underneath is because we're going to use the functionality of the layers. And we're going to go and grab the eye. I'm on the right eye here. Go and grab this color. So I'm just going to go and grab that. You can see it's sort of a grayish beige. And then I'm going to use a rounded brush inside my recents, but this is just a painted rounded brush. So go to painting, rounded brush. I'm going to have this at about 10% ish, and then I'm just going to go and paint underneath it. And the beauty of being underneath this layer means that we can go and be quite free with the way that we paint. Next, I'm going to go and grab the corners now to make it a bit darker. Go and zoom in a touch, but this time I know that I'm going to bring that around like this. And as you paint, you'll realize that you can apply more pressure. And then we'll do the other side as well. And as we finish the eye, you'll end up with something that looks something like that, I suppose. You can see I've been a bit sort of artistic, using a bit of artistic license on there, just to allow a bit more shading to go on in that eyeball. And then next I'm going to go into the second eye on the left. And this time you can see it's a little bit darker on this eye. I'm going to choose that color. I'm going to choose that color on that reference as well. So what we're going to do now is add some extra shades to that eye. You can see it's actually quite dark. As we zoom out, you can see the darkness of that eye, but it is sort of dark anyway. You can see that the boy's eyes are quite dark. It does add a contrast to the skin though. It makes them look even paler than they actually are. But as you zoom into the eye, you can actually see there is some light parts going on. So what we're going to do after this is, if you look closely, you can see there are white tinges within the eyes, just where the bottom of the lids are. So you've got these white tinges here. We'll add those on later. We'll add all the highlights on later, so the highlight and the lid here between the two, and we'll add all that on later, so it gives that realistic feel, as well as all the hairs on the eyes. We'll add those on top, because this is on top and closer to us as a viewer. So the things that are closer to us, we will add later on. What we're going to do next is we're going to make a swatch color, which is going to allow us to sort of paint around here next, and we can paint into the eyes, and we can paint underneath the eyes now, because we want to go to our reference layer. We want to add a new layer, and this is going to be our color layer, and this is going to allow us to paint underneath everything without disturbing all the colors that we put in there already. And then we can start adding the colors for the hair and the eyes, and then also the parts of the neck. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to add a new layer just here on top of reference, and we're going to use that as our color layer.